everyone. I am Melanie Jongsma, publisher of the Lansing Journal, sitting here with Carole Sharwarko, our managing editor. The Lansing Journal is Lansing's only newspaper, and it is our mission to keep our diverse community informed and connected. That is what we've been doing all this election season, and it's been a long season, hasn't it?
It's been a long and kind of wild season, and election season's wrapping up, but that doesn't mean our work is over, of course.
No. Election day was Tuesday, and we reported those results. Carole wrote that up the same night so that on Wednesday morning our subscribers could have that in their daily news email. If you're not a subscriber yet, you should be.
Please subscribe to our daily email.
Below.
It's got so much information in it, but we're getting off topic, Melanie.
Right.
Election day was a long day, but it was a good day. You were out. Melanie went to every single polling place in Lansing. You were doing some live videos.
Yeah, I wanted to remind people that it was election day, and I will admit I was trying to encourage people to come out and vote because it's so important.
Yes. And then I was out. I went to 5 Lansing polling places. I was trying to hit every region, so north, south, east, west, and central, talking to voters out there. So it was a long day. It was a bit chilly, but obviously we wanted to make sure we reported on those elections and got this news to you.
Yeah, so election day was Tuesday. People should be aware, though, that the actual installation of these new elected officials doesn't happen until mid-May.
Right.
So there's a period now of it's not exactly lame duck. There's still decisions being made. There's still
actions being taken, but there is a bit of a lag, of course, between election day and when these new officials will take office.
So in case you're wondering, yes, Tiffany Henyard is still the supervisor of Thornton Township.
A little while longer.
May.
Yeah. We'll see what happens in these next several weeks. But speaking of Thornton Township, let's get into those results, Melanie.
Yes.
So we saw Napoleon Harris's entire slate win. It's the Democratic slate that was running with him, and I have to say, I was a little surprised that the slate won as definitively as it did. It really was a sweep. They got more than 70% of the vote in those races. Is that right?
Yeah, it might have been 75% even. And you were saying earlier that you really expected the independent candidate, Nate Fields, and the Republican candidate, Richard Nolan, to do a little better. To have more, get a few more votes than they did.
Yes. In this analysis that we're doing, I really, maybe it's because I'm really close to the issue, but I really did think that they would break through a little bit more, especially in the climate that we've been in, and get a little bit more support, but they both got just over 10% of the vote. Not really the showing that I'm sure they were hoping for.
And it does raise some concerns for us because we found the Democratic slate to be less than forthcoming with information while we were trying to cover the candidates throughout our community. We reached out to all of them for profile information that we could include online and in our print edition. We reached out to all of them again to participate in the forum that we did of Thornton Township candidates.
Right.
And we got ghosted.
Of course, it's their prerogative, not to get back to us, but as a journalist, it does make me concerned when you don't hear anything from a candidate, because as we're moving into reporting on this new board, it makes me wonder, are they going to answer questions? Are they going to respond to interview requests? Will they quickly and properly respond to FOIA requests? When we have no indication of how willing they are to communicate with us, it makes me a little concerned for how communicative they will be in those offices.
Yeah, and especially in comparison to the administration that we've been trying to cover for the past 3 years, where FOIAs did not get answered and requests for interviews of Supervisor Henyard did not get answered. So I guess it's fair to say we were hoping for more of a difference between the incoming and the outgoing. And, we'll We're not making any judgments. We're just saying we've got some concerns, and we're gonna keep covering the township in the same way that we always have. We will show up at meetings. We will document the votes and the actions, and we will request information. We will exercise our Freedom of Information Act rights and request the information that the public deserves to know.
And we're hoping too that you continue to show up at meetings as well.
Yes.
Even after hopefully the drama dies down a little bit, we're really hoping that the people that have been so vocal and so present at Thornton Township meetings will continue to be there, because we believe, and I think we know, that community involvement, really helps hold elected officials accountable.
Yes.
They know that people are watching, and we know from studies that we've read that having a local newspaper covering those municipalities also really helps hold elected officials accountable. So we're proud to continue to do that. And
it's really the people who made the difference in Thornton Township. It's the people who showed up and spoke up, made public comments, talked to higher up elected officials, and really kept pressing and kept making their voices heard. We were there to record that and to
report on it and to try to reflect what the concerns of the public were, but
it was the people who did the action. We just reported what the public was doing.
Yes.
So that should not stop. We do not want that to stop. Public engagement is what makes the difference.
So you were wondering, Melanie, a little bit of really believing in the Journal, and I do too, if having the Lansing Journal is something that helps hold Lansing officials accountable too. And perhaps in our analysis here, we're wondering if that could be the reason that Lansing hasn't had some of the same issues that we've seen in surrounding communities as far as questions over government official actions and motivations and things like that. So is Lansing better off for having the Lansing Journal? We think so.
We think we are. I mean, obviously the Lansing Journal can't take full credit for how awesome Lansing is, but I think it does play a part. Yeah. Lansing voters know things that maybe Dalton voters didn't, and Lansing residents know they can ask the Lansing Journal about things, and we will either have answers or we'll get the answers. Lansing elected officials and school board officials know that we're going to be at meetings. They see us there consistently.
They get emails from us. We request documents from them. We ask them questions.
I'm not saying that's the only thing that's preventing corruption in Lansing, but it does make a difference when the public is showing up and when the media are showing up. There's just a heightened level of awareness and accountability.
Yes. So speaking of Lansing, let's get a little bit into the Village of Lansing election results. So Melanie, we already know, but tell us what happened here in Lansing.
Yeah, in the municipal elections, the Lansing First Party swept all of the offices. Of course, the mayor race was uncontested, so Brian Hardy is our new mayor. The clerk race was also uncontested, so Maureen Grady-Perovich will become our new clerk in mid-May. And the trustee race was contested. There were 5 trustee candidates running for 3 open seats, and the Lansing First Party, the three trustees in the Lansing First Party took all 3 of those seats.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, it's kind of interesting that we had a full slate sweep in Thornton Township, and then we had a full slate sweep in Lansing. Those are 2, individual boards. We don't want to compare them against one another, but, Melanie and I were talking about how it sort of makes us we sort of wish that there was more variety in the results. It's not to say that there's anything wrong with right. Either full slate. They could be wonderful public servants, and we'll continue to report on that. But we like a little variety. Variety is the spice of life, and also municipal boards. Right, Melanie?
It just feels a little healthier to have some opposing or different voices on a board. And as you said, I'm not anticipating any trouble or any corruption in Lansing's government. But I would prefer to have a mix.
Yeah, and I think it'll be something. I think it'll be something to watch too, to see will these slates vote as a block, or will some trustees come out? They've said I'll have my own opinions, even though I'm running as a slate. I'll have my own opinions. I'll make my own decisions. So I think it'll be interesting to watch to see if they do have disagreement. There should be healthy disagreements, in these boards. That's what we want. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, and we'll continue to show up at village board meetings just as we always have. We'll be reporting on decisions made and actions taken. We've done that for a long time, and we will continue to do that. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So some boards that we're looking to cover more consistently are our local school boards. We really want to make sure that we're doing the same kind of reporting on those boards that we are on the municipal boards. And the school board races, if you didn't pay too much attention to them, were kind of interesting this time.
A lot of interest in school boards all of a sudden, it feels like. And that makes us curious.
It does. So there are 4 school boards that majorly affect Lansing, and there were a lot of candidates for those board seats. So that was good to see. There were some kind of like upsets where we had some people who had never been on a school board or had never been on these school boards knock off some incumbents. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of interesting as well. So we're going to be watching those school boards to see, how do these new folks do? How are they integrated into the board? Will any major changes happen because of these new school board members, or will it kind of be business as usual? It's always interesting to see what a new administration does to either balk at the previous administration or add on or keep the status quo. It remains to be seen.
And we've heard some rumblings from readers about school boards, and we want to investigate those and just be paying closer attention to what's happening in Lansing school boards. It's an important part of community life, of course, and it deserves more attention than we've been able to give it, but we are trying to figure out ways to make sure that the Lansing Journal can be present at more of those school board meetings.
Yes,
Look
because
forward to that.
In addition to being a big part of life and the fabric of our communities, school boards spend a lot of taxpayer money for good reason, right? We want to support our schools, but whenever we have officials that are stewards of any taxpayer money, let alone large amounts of taxpayer money, we really want to make sure that we're watching those closely. So that kind of wraps up our election analysis here that we wanted to offer you. I just wanted to offer one last note. I was out covering the polling places all day on election day. I went to 5 of them, and I was really impressed by Lansing voters. It was really a delightful day of reporting. I've done a lot of man on the street reporting or woman on the street, where you kind of walk up to people cold and say, "Hey, what did you think about voting? Hey, can you tell me who you voted for?" And Lansing voters were just so kind and forthcoming and had good attitudes and friendly, and so just wanted to shout out Lansing voters.
Way to go, Lansing.
For getting involved, being passionate about voting, and for making this reporter feel so welcome out at the polls.
I enjoyed it too. It was good to see democracy in action. It was good to be part of it. It was a beautiful day on election day. So it was a nice day, good feeling, good community day, and we enjoy that. We enjoy covering Lansing, of course, and election day is a big deal. So
the elections are over. It's time for us to take a breath. And now get back to work.
Right.
So as we continue our coverage, please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you watch us on YouTube and you're not signed up for our daily email, subscribe to it, please. It gets so much good info. If you're watching this in our daily email, please go and visit us on YouTube as well. Right. We've got a lot of great meeting coverage there and some other videos as well that we'd love for you to see. And as always, thanks so much for watching.
We appreciate you, Lansing. We'll see you next time.
Bye.